Bronny James has always been in the spotlight, and being LeBron's son only amplifies it. The expectations, the criticism, and the inevitable comparisons. It's all a package deal. But what if I told you that, despite the noise, Bronny is starting to carve his own path in the G League? And no, this isn't just hype, there's real substance behind it. Let's start with the setup. Bronny began his journey with a rocky start in the G League. His debut was far from spectacular, just 6 points on 2 for 9 shooting, including a frustrating 0 for 4 from deep. Fans were quick to criticize, with some even labeling him a product of nepotism. But Bronny, to his credit, didn't let that define him. Instead, he used the tough outings as fuel to improve. Fast forward to now, and the story has started to shift. Over the past month, Bronny has been quietly making waves. He dropped a 30-point performance against the Valley Suns, shooting an impressive 56.5% from the field. That wasn't a one-off either. He averaged nearly 19 points per game in the G League at one point, now sitting at roughly 15 per game as of this video. Add in his rebounding, playmaking, and defensive flashes, and you've got the makings of a player who's figuring it out. But what's really fueling this turnaround? It's his ability to adapt and respond to criticism. Bronny's showing growth in key areas like decision-making in pick-and-roll situations. Watching him navigate screens with poise and either drive to the rim or find the roll man is a sign of maturity in his game. It's a stark contrast to the turnover-prone, out-of-control performances from earlier in the season with the Lakers. And let's talk about his shooting, something that's been a weak point for him. After struggling to hit from deep during the G League tip-off tournament, Bronny has significantly improved his three-point shooting percentage to an impressive 46.2% in the regular season. It's not just the numbers, it's the confidence and willingness to take these shots in big moments. The real question, though, is whether this success can translate to the NBA. That's where the stakes get higher and the room for error shrinks. Now, let's talk about the conflict. What's holding Bronny back and why some remain skeptical? Even with his recent improvements, the gaps in his game can't be ignored. For starters, his ball handling under pressure has been shaky at times. We've seen moments where he's struggled to protect his dribble, leading to turnovers that can't happen at higher levels. Against aggressive defenders, he's shown vulnerability, and that's a red flag for a guard aspiring to carve out a role in the NBA. Then there's his shot selection. While his shooting percentages are trending up, inconsistency has been a recurring theme. Take his recent outings. One night, he's efficient and lethal, like his 7 for 14 shooting game against the Cleveland Charge. The next, he's forcing contested looks and finishing with a subpar 35%. These inefficient nights reveal a need for better judgment when deciding when and where to shoot. His motor and defensive effort have also come under scrutiny. Off ball, there are stretches where he seems disengaged, moments where he doesn't bring the energy you'd expect from someone fighting for an NBA spot. The potential is there. We've seen him disrupt plays and even rack up 4 steals in a single game. But for Bronny, consistency in effort is non-negotiable. It's not just about being good for a few minutes here and there, it's about being locked in every possession. And let's not forget the elephant in the room, the shadow of his father. Everything Bronny does will inevitably be compared to LeBron's greatness. That's a weight no other G League player carries. Critics will dissect his every move, attributing his opportunities to his last name rather than his talent. It's an unfair but unavoidable narrative that Bronny has to navigate daily, and likely for the rest of his life. Still, if there's one thing we've learned from watching Bronny, it's that he doesn't shy away from challenges. His ability to bounce back from early season struggles to become one of the South Bay Lakers' key contributors speaks volumes about his resilience. And despite the criticism, the G League has been a proving ground for him, a space to grow without the overwhelming spotlight of the NBA. But here's the twist. Playing well in the G League is one thing. Turning that into an NBA career? That's an entirely different battle. Now, let's move to moments that show why Bronny James is starting to make believers out of skeptics. The biggest turning point came during his 30-point explosion against the Valley Suns. This wasn't just a good game, it was a statement. Bronny looked confident, composed, and in control. He was attacking the rim, hitting jumpers, and making plays for his teammates. It was the kind of performance that reminded everyone why he was such a hyped prospect in the first place. But it's not just about the scoring. Bronny's growth as a playmaker has been just as impressive. In recent games, he's racked up assists with some flashy, highlight-worthy passes, including precision pick-and-roll feeds and quick-hit dimes in transition. Averaging 5.5 assists per game in the regular season shows that he's learning how to facilitate an offense, an essential skill for a true point guard. And let's not overlook his defense. At 6'4", Bronny uses his athleticism and instincts to bother opposing guards. His 4-steal game against the Cleveland Charge was a glimpse of what he can do when he's locked in. If he can continue to refine this part of his game, he could develop into a valuable two-way player. Still, the G League has been a mix of highs and lows. For every standout performance, there are moments that remind us he's a 20-year-old rookie with plenty to learn. The turnovers, the streaky shooting, and the occasional lapses in effort are all part of the growing pains. So, what's the resolution? Where does Bronny go from here? Bronny's steadily carving out his path as a basketball player, currently showing promise with solid performances in the G League. While it's unlikely he'll reach the superstar status of his father, Bronny's dedication and steady improvements could pave the way for a successful NBA career. If he continues to refine these skills, particularly in defense, basketball IQ, and three-point shooting, Bronny has the potential to become a reliable role player. With hard work and consistency, he could thrive as a valuable contributor on an NBA roster. The path to the NBA won't be easy. He'll need to prove he can consistently knock down threes, improve his ball security, and maintain a high motor on both ends of the floor. But here's the thing, Bronny has something you can't teach: resilience. He's been in the spotlight his entire life, scrutinized in ways few other players are. And yet, he's still here, grinding, improving, and proving people wrong. Whether he becomes an NBA star or a solid rotational player, Bronny James is showing us that he's not just LeBron's son. He's his own player, and right now, he's cooking in the G League.